Good morning, students. We come back with the next topic again, and this is demographic transition theory. This demographic transition theory was put forward by Carl Sachs. Yes, he was a Russian economist, and he put forward this theory to show us the relationship between birth and death rate with economic development. What is basically the relationship between the economic development of the area and the birth and death rate? Again, it shows us the relationship between, or the transition between, the agrarian economy to the industrial economy. It also shows us a transition from an illiterate society to a literate society. Now, this theory has three stages: stage one, stage two, and stage three. In stage one, what do we see? The society is pre industrial. The birth rate is very high. Why is the birth rate very high? Lack of medical facilities. Infant mortality rate is very high, so parents are not sure if all their children are going to live. So the birth rate is very high. Death rate is also very high. Why is the death rate very high? Lack of medical facilities. The life expectancy. What is life expectancy? How many years a person lives in a particular region. Okay, so that is life expectancy. That was very, very low. So death rates were very high. So birth rate and death rate was very high. The natural events like famine, drought, man had no control. You can link it with determinism. Remember that human geography had two approaches: determinism and neo determinism. Determinism is when the climate determined everything. Climate determined everything. So again, so we can say that this natural events like famine, drought, man had no control, and this also increased death rate. High fertility rate. Fertility rate means for how many years a woman can give birth, how fertile the woman is. So if there is more women in the society, which is always low, so if there is more women, that means many child, and if she's getting married very early, then the fertility rate increases because she remains fertile for a longer time. She can give birth to many children. So high fertility rate because women were married off at a very early age, and again there was very high infant mortality. So again that is why high fertility rate. Medical facilities were very costly. It was not available to all. There was no advancement in medical facilities. So the population growth was very, very slow rate. Why? Because death rate was also very high, birth rate was also very high. Next, the literacy rate very low. Economy was mainly agrarian. So, and the level of technology that was also very, very low. Next, we come to the, so what do we see basically in stage one? High birth rate, high death rate. So population grew very slowly. There was lack of medical facilities, lack of technology. So all this together, it was a very slow growth rate. Now we come to stage two, the industrial revolution, or industries have now come into limelight. The society was industrial, birth rate, but was still high. The first part of this second stage, we can see birth rate very high. Then the birth rate slowly, slowly declined. Why the birth rate declined? We'll come to it. Death rate, slowly, slowly, it became low. That means what it is indicating? It is indicating that the death rate was, the medical facilities were available. So the death rate came down. Natural events like famine, drought could be controlled now with some kind of technical development. Fertility rate remained high, basically in the developing countries. So we can say a many number of children were born, so the population grew at this time at a very fast rate. Fertility rate remained high in the beginning, but it declined in the later part of this stage. Medical facility, there was a big breakthrough in the medical facility. This big improvement, good sanitization, improvement in public health, vaccination could control many epidemics, diseases. So automatically death rate is declining, but birth rate remaining very high. The population boomed up. So this was a time when the population grew very fast. Next, we come to the third stage. Okay, there are a few more points of second stage I would like to discuss. Population growth remained as high. Economic activity was agriculture as well as industry. Literacy rate increased. Especially the females became literate. So they were educated. They knew about hygiene. They knew about child care. So automatically infant mortality rate became less. And the level of technology, through many invention, technology was available. Third stage, post-industrial, post-industrial stage. Here we see boom in industry, boom in trade and commerce, and then there was banking facilities and many other kinds of jobs. So man did not only depend on agriculture for their living. Birth rate at this stage, third stage, declined. Why birth rate declined? Because female became engaged. Females were more educated, more number of women being educated, men being educated. That is why they realized that small family was good because available resources are limited. Death rate declined because medical facilities were even higher, better. Very good medicine to cure terminal diseases. So natural events were much, much under control. Famine, droughts, they were much, much. You could predict cyclones, so you could make people aware. So they did not lose their harvest. They could move away from the disaster area. So all these brought the death rate really, really down. Fertility rate declined, medical facilities were very good, population growth now became stable. First stage, we see that the growth rate was very slow. Second stage, we see the growth rate was very high. Third stage, we see population growth is slowly declining, or the population becoming stable. Economic activities at this time, people were engaged in agriculture, industry, trade, information technology, and many other kinds of work. Literacy rate was very high. Level of technology is very high. You can see the level of technology sitting at home and teaching you all. So you're understanding now. So obviously, if we had many children around, we would not be able to do it. So fewer, smaller families, nuclear families. So each stage that we see as the population growth is changing, it is changing because of the effect of technological development, because of education. The society is also changing, and all this is having a effect where on the population growth. It's a very easy theory. You have to know it by points. I will send you all these points in your WhatsApp group. Now, population control measures. That is the last topic of your book. Population control measures. Delayed marriage, legislative actions for child marriage or getting people married below 18. So there should be law, better medical facilities available. So if there is less infant mortality, if there is good education, obviously parents will be able to space out their birth of children. They will be understanding the necessity of small families, providing incentives to small families, spreading awareness that resources limited, so you should be having small families to eradicate poverty. Because those who are living in poverty, they think many children, they will be a earning member to the family. So if you eradicate poverty, this will not be a problem. Obviously, family planning, making family planning available, making people aware of family planning, educating people. If you take all these measures, obviously you will be able to control your population. So this brings us the end of this chapter. Please go through all the questions. If you are having any doubt, please get back. Thank you. Stay safe. Stay healthy.